Hello, I'm back. I've decided that I'm going to use a couple of portfolios. These are water-soluble oil pastels. They are really cheap, and I must say that they are one of my favorites to work with in my art journal. So these are the colors, and I really like them. I think she looks a little bit pale, so I've decided to add some color. Just here and there a little bit of color. I think green, just a light green, the yellow green would be wonderful. This color is pretty transparent. If you don't have oil pastels, you can use colored pencils or even the water-soluble Neocolor 2. It's fine. That works too. It's just that I really love oil pastels. Maybe a little light blue on top of that. Blend it a little bit. Again, this is pretty intuitive. No rules. Just fun. Flash color. Peach, it's called. Just a little flash color here and there. I think now she looks way better. You can see just a couple of colors can change the total package of her face. This is a ochre, golden brown. It's like an ochre yellow. You can hear my dog in the background. I just did go for a run with him. Not that I did one, but he did go out for a run. I think now I'm liking her way more. And you did see that it were only a couple of touch-ups, some color here and there, and it makes her much more interesting to look at. Lips can be a bit tricky, but it works. This is a cerulean blue, just to make some spots on her lip a little bit darker. And it immediately becomes more interesting and more depth in her lips. My white one really isn't looking that great anymore, but it works. Make sure if you take the white one to take another finger, because all the other fingers have color on them. Just a little bit of white in her lips. Now I'm satisfied. Let me see, I need a clean finger. Perfect. I set them aside because it's possible I use it on her too. Zoom out a little bit. Now I like her really a lot with the queen and the dark hair. I think she looks perfect now. For my taste. Maybe I'm thinking, maybe, let me see. I have a slate grey and that's more like a paint grey. Maybe I will darken this side, the inner side of her hair too, because it really needs to be dark and near to the head. Maybe even black, let me see. I think this is better. Blend that really well. Yes, that's way better, I think. I'm turning my page because I don't want to go into her face, so I need to be careful. Even with the blending part, be careful. I will put some blue in it too, to create more of a paint grey. That's way better. Naturally, in the back of your hair, it's dark there, so it needs to be pretty dark. And because of the watercolors are pretty translucent, it can be a problem to create that. So, and I already did some pretty dark hair, so just some strands of hair. And I will be creating a little bit of highlights here. Just a couple on the top of her hair. Not much. I like it subtle. Just like that. And now she's finished. Yes, she's finished. Completely finished, I think. I hope. Although you never know with me. Hello, I'm back. I did get a message on my telephone, so I needed to call somebody. And when I turned back to go on with my art journal page, I totally forgot to press on my microphone. So I will do a little voiceover. I'm using some Neo colors too here, but I have to tell you, you don't need them. You can also, this is a water-soluble crayon. So you can, if you don't have them, please, you don't need to buy them. I'm all for use what you have, and it is just watercolor and a crayon. So if you don't have them, just use your watercolors. And I'm being bold here. I wanted to make her a little bit darker, so I used the black one. and I will blend it with Gesso. This is a very cheap brand, so there is not, it is a not opaque, very, how do you call that? A very translucent. You can use any gesso you have. It is really not important because there are more layers to come. You can see here it works perfect. You can do it with water, you can do it with gesso, with gel medium. I hear some people talking about clear gesso. It's all possible to get them going, and as you can see, they are very, they have a lot of pigment in them. And the watercolors I did use on this page, I have the Core brand, that's from Golden, but I use a student quality on this one. It's the Van Gogh, and often I miss the pigments in them. So then you can see that I often use other products to get more color on her face. Don't be afraid to use black, because you can always add white, you can always add gesso. I was for a long time afraid of dark colors in a face, but I think dark colors make a face really pretty. And in real life we have a lot of dark colors in our face. So as you can see, I work the first layers of a face. I'm pretty messy, because I know by now I can always add more color, and so for me it is not a scary thing to do anymore. Just try it. At this point, the only thing that I want is to have her face totally covered with some darker tones and some lighter tones, and I keep on adding gesso to get it all over her face. In the end, this girl really turns out pretty. If you don't have, you can the Neocolor 2, you can do it with a Stabilo Oil pencil, works the same. You can do it with charcoal, works the same too. I did a lot of pages with just charcoal and gesso, works perfect. So there is really no need to buy the Neocolor 2, because they are not cheap. They are pretty expensive. And I must say I don't use them often, but I just wanted to stay in the watercolor scheme. So that I really wanted to use a lot of water-soluble products. Even the markers, if you have water-soluble markers, perfect. Just don't stress if you don't have the Neocolor 2. You see me heat drying the face. I do that often, and in the meantime I keep on painting. I don't know why I do that, but I do. And you can see my most important thing at this point is to blend the face completely, no harsh lines. And many people know me of my blending techniques, of my dry brush blending techniques with acrylics. I love to do that. It's one of my favorite things to do. But the more I work with watercolors, the more I going to appreciate them. I'm still learning, but I must say I didn't follow any class in watercolors, and I have a reason for that. I just want to create my own style in watercolors. I know there are a lot of watercolor artists out there, and maybe they freak out seeing this tutorial. I don't know, because I'm not using them like most people use them, and or maybe how I should use them, but I don't care. I just want to use them the way I want to use them. I love to work with a lot of colors, so that's the reason why I don't take classes in watercolor. I just want to be not unique, but I want to teach myself. That's my own style in watercolors. At this point, I'm taking the another gesso, a more opaque gesso. It is from, how is the brand called? From Americana. I love that brand. It is very affordable, and I think, in my opinion, it is a good brand. And I'm starting to blend in again the black. But as I said, you can use any gesso you have. No need to buy gesso. I can remember this stage. I thought I want her to be a little bit more messy. That's just, lately I try to stay loose in my art. I like loose art, and it is very difficult for me because I love to blend. But I force myself often to stay loose and to work loose and to let brush strokes come through, and I love that. It is really, when I see other artists do that, I'm always jealous, not in a bad way, but in a good way, and I'm trying to stay loose here too. So you can see not everything is perfectly blended. And in the end, I always love what I do, but when I'm in the process, I sometimes feel it is difficult to not blend. This is the ochre yellow. I think the combination of black, gray, white and ochre yellow is very lovely. I'm just touching here and there some shaded parts, and I will blend it in a minute. On her arms is just a basic face color that we used earlier, a pre-mixed color, and I just shade a little bit on her shoulders. At the moment I'm very busy creating mix and match, and after that I will take some classes myself about arms and hands and that kind of things. I love it, but I still need to learn a lot about them. And here you can see I'm trying to with water, but I don't know. That's why I don't use them often. They are so different than watercolors, and I like it, but then again, on her forehead I wiped it away. Have no idea why. Maybe because of the gesso. But in the end, everything will be okay. You can see me wiping off that part I didn't like of the yellow ochre, and now I'm adding some gesso to try to blend it a little bit. What also helps me to stay loose is to work with larger brushes, and this is you don't see it on the video I see, but it is a larger brush, and the face is not that big. Oh, here is a small brush. I'm trying to blend it a little bit, so sometimes I can't help myself, I keep on blending. The highlights on her nose, on her upper lip and the frill trim. Along her nose. On the upper eyelid has always some highlighted spot. So as you can see, I love to add a lot of layers. There are more to come. I just love to do that. I can't help myself. That's just the way I like it. I always love to add a lot of layers, and I think every layer is visible. Maybe not on camera, but in real life, every layer I add is visible, and I like that a lot. A little bit of the white of her eyes. Later on we will add the darkness in her eyes. This is a bird umber, if I saw it right. So it's a real dark one. I'm going over it again to make the darkest dark shades in her face. So it is around her face, underneath her bottom lip, underneath the chin, in the neck, on the forehead, and a little bit on the inner corners of the eyes. Again, I'm trying to blend it with plain water. This time I'm trying to not press too hard on the brush and let the Neocolor 2 do its work. Again, you can use, you can just simply use watercolors. Maybe we come in the ugly stage at this point. You know, there's always an ugly stage when painting a face. At least with me, there is an ugly stage. I keep on blending a little bit with gesso, and if you take a good look, you can also see the yellow ochre through it, and the burnt umber is also showing. I love to do dark faces. I like it a lot. Not per se black faces, but darker tones. I really like it. Now you can see it really good that the yellow ochre is still visible. And now I'm trying to stay loose by adding the gesso. And you see me doing the thingy with the brush, so from left to right, and that keeps me loose. I like it a lot. And not overblend the whole face, but just adding some highlights as another layer on this girl. I'm starting to like her at this point. Her neck needs some work. I hope I see later on that it is not, the sides of her neck are not okay, but we will see. Trying to add some darkness underneath, but later on there is coming more because this is not okay. This is the end of part 4 of this class, and part 4, and I hope to see you in part 5. Have fun, girls.